Okay, I have 11:01, which is always a good time to start a webinar. So I am going to take the opportunity to introduce the three of us to you. So my name is Rob Triggs, and I'll be sort of emceeing the webinar today. And I work for a company called CRM Dynamics, and we'll get into who we are in a little bit. But I also have with me today Dirk Schrader. So Dirk is here. Hello, Dirk.
Hello. Thank you for having me join.
You're welcome. And so Dirk is responsible for all of our technology solutions as it relates to the financial services and the credit union for our company. So Dirk is sort of our resident expert on the topic and will be leading most of the presentation. And we also have somebody from the ClickDimensions, a partner of ours called ClickDimensions. ClickDimensions is a marketing automation platform. So Annie is here as well. Annie, are you there?
I am. Good morning, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Annie. So we're going to actually have Annie talk a little bit deeper on the marketing automation piece, which is a large component of driving new members to your credit unions. So let me just move something here.
Also, I wanted to comment that we'll keep this talking about the functionality at a high level and the benefits and show the CRM. If you have very technical or deep dive questions, we can always have a follow-on where I can work with your IT team or answer any technical questions.
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to get started. So I'll pass it over to Dirk, and we'll take you through the content.
Great. Well, there's Rob's introduced himself and myself as well. Let me talk a little bit about our background and what we have done. So we have been implementing Microsoft Dynamics CRM since 2007. And before that, we were implementing a number of CRM systems since 1994. So we've got a deep history of solutions. Since 2007, we've done over 200 successful projects. And what makes us different from a lot of companies is we really focus on the sales and marketing and the benefits to you as an organization. So we don't see ourselves as a technology company. We see ourselves as a sales and marketing company that helps you to succeed in business that has a strong technical background and able to implement the software effectively. And Rob is our chief in terms of senior sales experience as well, if you want to.
Sure. So I come from Xerox. I was at Xerox for about 20 years, and I learned sort of how to sell at Xerox, the foundation of what I do today. And since then, I've expanded on that. So I'm certified in many of the different formal sales methodologies. And this is important to know because by focusing on sales methodologies, technology, and data that you have about your existing and potential clients, that's the recipe for success. So it's important that if you're looking at a solution, a technology solution to help grow members, it's not just the technology that's going to do it. It's the data, the process, and the technology working together. And but that's my background. You can read there.
Yeah, and that's a theme that we'll really be showing throughout this webinar, is that it's having the technologies work together that really gets the value from the system. So let me move ahead. Whoops. So some of the companies we've worked with, some key players, a lot of financial companies, and credit unions as well. So credit union challenges. So we think this is what you might be experiencing. This is what we've come across at a number of our credit union installations. So you probably have a lot of different systems right now, and you don't have one place to get an idea of what your members have. You might have a credit card portfolio, you might have some bonds, you might have insurance portfolio in another system. You've got the banking system that shows their balance of their various checking accounts. Mortgage information may or may not be in that system. It might be in a different system. So if you want to target or understand someone who walks in the door or calls you on the telephone, it's really hard to figure out exactly who they are. Other challenges that are really important right now is how do we acquire new members? How do we reach millennials? We see a lot of credit unions that have a very established base that's aging. And if you were to profile on a graph the different age distributions, you really have it heavy at the aging end and not so much at the young end. How to nurture, track, and convert more leads to customers. So big challenge, right? How do we get new customers? How do we manage getting those customers and then actually convert them to paying members? How to make use of new social channels. A lot of traditional financial institutions and credit unions have very good established systems, but it might be more challenging to make use of some of the new technologies and new channels that are becoming available. And how to expand wallet share of existing members. So that means you have a member that has one product. How do we make them aware of our other products and sell more into that member so that we build a deeper relationship with them and there's more wallet share or sales from that member. Trends in credit union members. So one thing that we hear from some of the companies we're working with is that prospects in the past would walk in the door, and that would be the biggest lead of new members. And that's becoming harder for two reasons. Number one, less and less of the millennials actually walk physically into the door of banks to establish new business. And the other thing is competition is heating up. Electronic banking, the big banks, a lot of different channels that have a lot of different ways to acquire members. So the walking in the door strategy is just not as effective as it used to be.
Isn't it true too, Dirk, that a lot of times the competitors that you're used to dealing with are changing and shifting? If you just use the example of what happened to the taxi industry with Uber, I don't think the taxi industry saw Uber coming. You know, Uber is not a taxi company, they're a technology company, but they've changed the way we order a taxi today.
Absolutely, right? The new iPhone, Apple banking, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what will happen with that, but I'm a little worried.
Yeah. Or paying for your Starbucks with your phone in the morning. So technology is really changing the way business is done.
Exactly. So how is technology changing and how are younger members changing? Younger members are much more digital savvy and they're on social media. So if you don't have a digital plan and an integrated digital plan and you're not working with social media, you're probably losing out on potential members. Competition is increasing from the various different channels we talked about. Members demand more value. So what does that mean? You know, there's the traditional value of the services you provide, but just providing information about products or about what members already own is becoming increasingly important. So if I'm a consumer who wants a mortgage and you walk into a branch and someone says, well, you know, there's two kinds of mortgages. We have a floating interest rate or we have fixed interest rate. You know, in the past that was good enough, but these days people want to research that in advance. They want to understand the products. They might go to the website and do research and have their exact main questions and targeted solution in mind by the time they come in and speak to them. So that's where the more value comes in place, is to provide education for your members and of the products and services. So how to compete and win given all these challenges? Here's how. Need to have a complete and single view of prospects and members. So this means if your call center receives a call, you should be able to bring up the member and see all their products, all their services, what you've done, your outbound marketing to them, what offers you've presented to them, and ideally you'd have the top 3 products that you should be trying to educate them on. So let's say they call for a password reset. If you're armed with this information, you have an opportunity to upsell them. If you understand that they have a family and approaching university, you might mention that there's a special education loan special. There's a lot of opportunity you have if you have that single view of customer. And this is also true for tellers. When a person comes in, and they might have a few minutes and they ask some questions, to be able to see that complete view and see the top product opportunities is critical. And, other channels that are helpful is chat. If you offer that on your website, that's another important way contact people, and then the outbound that generates the inbound. And we'll talk about
I have a
that.
question. So this whole concept of a single view of a prospect, we see that in a lot of the different industries we sell to, Dirk. So in the credit union industry or vertical market, is that an elusive thing? Is it an expensive thing to accomplish, to provide a single view of a prospect?
So there's 3 levels, and at the very end we'll show you our packages, and it starts from a very low cost, around the $20,000, and then we go up from there. But you can pull your information from your various systems to get that single view. So between the Microsoft CRM platform, which is very powerful in terms of the integration, and some of the tools we've built, it doesn't have to be a huge project like it used to be in the past.
Okay, that's great.
All right, so you want to integrate information from your website, social media, campaigns, banking system, call center, and tellers. So, and you know, we've had some organizations that roll it out to everyone, and others that roll it out to their call center and marketing teams only. So again, you might start with walking and then run later on when you feel more comfortable with the whole platform. All right. So the other thing is need to micro-segment and communicate value propositions. I alluded to this before, where you want to make sure that you can analyze your base from a complete picture, and you can figure out what type of products would really benefit specific members, and then you have that on your main list of opportunities for each member. I'm sure you have, from your own experience, knowledge of some people within the credit union who are very good at talking to people about the products, and they automatically just take all that into account. So they say, you know, how are you, Mr. Smith? It's great to have you in. I remember your kids came in last year and they were teenagers. You know, have you thought about education, or where are they heading? Are they going to university? So there's an example of someone who's very in tune with the customers and really cares about their customers. And they can do this almost automatically. Now, for the other 95% of us, to have a system that would tell you in advance to mention the loans for students, that's a huge skill. And all of a sudden, instead of having 5% of your frontline people being effective, you can get closer to 100%. So there's an example of the micro-segment and communicative value propositions.
You know what's interesting, Dirk, about that is when I've spoken to other credit union customers of ours, one of their main value propositions really is knowing their customer's name, right? That personal service, more of a member versus a number. When you go to the bank, you're just a number, right? And the banks are trying to change that, but they're so big and cumbersome. So if a credit union isn't doing this today, they're really not giving their clients or their members what the sort of the value they expect anyway, right? So they need to be able to do this.
Well, exactly. And, you know, just the other day, I recently had a credit card fraud alert, and they sent me a new credit card. And when I went in and talked to the teller, they said, you know, was my new credit card working? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I felt like they cared about me. So just huge right there. All right, so understand the prospect or member to then make informed value proposition. So again, the single view of customer, what that gives us is an ability to now apply analytics, we apply models to it, and we look at those opportunities for the different segments. And once we have those people segmented, we can then build our marketing lists, our opportunity lists. We can build all our plans around that to increase sales and wallet share. And communication. So the CRM system readily integrates with email. There is social listening integration. There is text. There is the web integration. So even here, this webinar is going into our system to track all of you so that we can do marketing to the members.
So our salespeople can call you afterwards.
Exactly.
Follow up and help you.
So it's an extremely powerful and integrated system. So I think you'll be impressed with that. Every contact point in your credit union needs to have access to this information. So be it the chat online, or be it the inbound call center, or even if it's the outbound call center and tellers, you want every person to have all the information they need to add value. And the other thing is people who are approaching retirement age, they're used to going up to tellers, and the teller doesn't know them from anything. Millennials these days, they expect you to know them. They expect you not to ask for their address again. They expect you to have knowledge of their products, and they expect you to add value. So that demand will just get stronger as time goes by. All right, so here is a chart that shows the integration of the various pieces. So another way to look at that. Adapting to the new customer journey. So traditional marketing and selling is becoming obsolete, right? So the outbound letter campaigns and just waiting for people to walk through the door is no longer sufficient. So you need targeted messaging, and you need to use a variety of media, and especially the electronic media. Your message is based on having a single view of prospect or member in order to present relevant value propositions. So in the old days, you would just blanket everyone with the same message. These days, you're really missing out on an opportunity, and you're really damaging the relationship by doing that. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you target at least part of the message needs to be segmented, so that the person feels you care about them and you understand them and you're adding value for them. So this is probably what the world looks like right now in your bank or credit union. You have a sales team working in a silo. You might have a CRM system. Your CRM system might be Excel sheets, or it might be Outlook. You've got a customer database. That's probably your banking system. You might have a contact marketing list in your email system. There's probably forecasting that someone's building, a sales opportunity list of maybe we should go after these people. And there's probably some of those people on that list who are already customers of yours. The website, right? You have a web presence. You're putting out products and services on there, but you're not sure who's coming back to the site. And even if you track it through analytics, you have no way to follow up with them in an efficient and integrated manner. And then social listening is often another corner. So you might have social listening campaigns, but chances are it doesn't integrate with your system. So the weakest link is what you have right now. If any of these don't work well together, then you have disjointed communications and you're turning off customers, or you're not reaching the customers you want. So here is what the CRM system single point of view can do for you. So we take data feeds from your banking information system. We take it from your other systems, regardless if it's PeopleSoft or SAP or various different systems. We pull that data in and we give you the single view of customers. From the CRM then, we have the integrating web and integrated email and integrated social listening, and there's even data mining tools that will give you rich information about prospects. So in fact, instead of knowing nothing about your customers, you have to be careful to not over communicate that you know too much about them. So that's a nice problem to have. All right. And any questions at this point, or?
If anybody has any questions, if you can put your question to the question window, and as we go along, we can answer those as we see them come in.
Yeah, move along. Marketing automation, digital presence. These are the pieces that we have that make it work together. All right, so here's a slide showing our single point of customer. So let me take this opportunity and move over to the CRM system, give an idea of what Microsoft CRM has and what our product on top of it, what value it provides. So Microsoft CRM, like most CRMs, is very vanilla out of the box. So what you're seeing here has our credit union package overlaid and configured into the software, and that's what we would like to helpfully work with you to produce. And this information also comes from a variety of systems. Some of it is collected in the CRM, and some come from the bank information system or other databases that you have. So from the dashboards, you're able to have general dashboards, management dashboards, product dashboards, individual profile dashboards. And these are the tools that help you target when you have your different people, either marketing or call center or people doing the website chats, can see how their progress is going. So graphically presented, very easy, very well to manage. In the sales system, the single point of customer, we use the contacts for that. Some organizations, they will modify some of the information they have and what's available. So these extensions, or if you have specific types of information that you would like to track that isn't built in, it's fairly easy to add, and it becomes part of the profile. So let's look at contact. So depending on the integration level you want, you either search for a member when they come in, or if you were in the call center, we can integrate this with CTI. That's computer telephony interface, so then you get a screen pop type of effect when a person calls in. If it recognizes the phone number, it would show you who that person is. And then likewise through the chat, we have integrations with live chat, so when a person calls in and provides some information, it can pop up their information as well. So once we look down at the information, we get the single view. So these screens are configurable. Every one of our installs slightly modifies it so that it exactly addresses what they want, but here's a good idea of a system that gives you a nice overview. So let me work on or explain some of the major parts of this. So you've got your main tombstone information right at the top here in blue. Here are the actions. So actions are things that we are doing outbound in terms of marketing initiated or sales initiated, or a person called for something and we followed up. And then our actions are the SLA or service level agreement we have to address those actions. So if a person sent an email asking about a mortgage, we then would send them back mortgage, but then we set an automated follow-up to happen within 7 days. So that automated follow-up could either be just an email, and then it's fully automated. If the person's opted in for text, it could be an automated text, and that would be fully automated. If you've hit certain thresholds, so you're at a certain level of value or the amount you've asked for is at a certain dollar amount, then we'll have someone telephone call you, and if the amount's even greater than that and you're a very high valued prospect or member, then we'll actually have an appointment. We'll ask someone to call you to discuss it. So that's how the action works, and this is how you turn inquiries into sales, because you actually follow up and you have the system help you follow up. So any questions about that or what actions are? Is that good?
Yeah. So again, if you have any questions, just put them in the little question window.
Yeah. So sales opportunity. This is the micro-segmenting that we talked about. So what this is we pull analytics and we offer that service. We can analyze your database, and based on your profile of your customers, we'll load up these opportunities. Or if you have on your marketing team people who are comfortable to run those kinds of queries and do that data, then you can do this on your own. So what you might do is, in this first example, we have an overdraft 10K opportunity we've identified. So the query might be, let's look at people who have a certain credit rating, they've done certain activity in the last 6 months, and therefore we want them to request a 10K overdraft. And assuming that their application comes back without any surprises, you would be pre-approved. So the language could be, we just need to validate your information, but you're pre-approved, assuming it's up to date. Another opportunity, we're coming up to RSP season, or in the States, the 401K. What we can do is we can do some analysis of past trends. Last year we asked people what they're doing for their RSP planning. So now we have a campaign that targets those specific people for an RSP loan. And the value added here is showing them an analysis. If you borrow money to then get your RSP topped up, which means you now get a credit refund on your taxes, and then you can pay down the loan, you are much further ahead than if you don't do any of this. So that type of education campaign, you can target exactly to people who would benefit from that. All right. So moving down. So additional products and financial assets they have. Again, this information here is coming mainly from the banking system. And for this client, they also have, I believe, 3 different Excel databases that certain groups use and update, and that gets consolidated into here. So single view of customer, and this allows us to do that segmentation and outbound marketing and talk to them about opportunities. Contact history. This is important because when we reach out to the member and they come back and they have questions, we want to follow up on the specific conversations we had, and then we can continue that conversation as if it hadn't been interrupted. So that's huge, especially if you don't have a dedicated person, or if a person is calling into the call center and would like to deal with someone and have answers. All right. Good. So holdings overview. Again, this comes from the banking system, and in this particular example, it gets updated fairly regularly. You don't have to have this in phase 1 product, doesn't have your holdings coming across. But again, the more information you have and the more timely it is, the better your segmentation can be, right? Other financial institution holdings, this doesn't integrate with your competitors. That would be kind of not, I wouldn't want to cooperate with you on that. But if you do get competitive information like where is your mortgage, oh, it's with another company, we'd be happy to quote on it on your next renewal date. This is where you'd capture that type of information, so then you can have competitive offerings go out. By the way, each of these sections can by default come up as shrunk, or they can be expanded, so there's a lot of flexibility in the system of how it's presented. And if you want certain people to be much more focused on communications, we can just take the contact history section and move that up to the top. So everything you see here is customizable and can be modified, right? We just start from a system that's proven to be very effective with a number of financial institutions and credit unions. Okay, so down here, personal employment, if you want to keep that up here to give a profile, that is helpful. And personal documents. If you've provided certain loans, you can choose to make those available in the system as well, right? So if a person said, you know, that application, I misplaced it, could I please have another one? Here it is. Or how am I progressing on the mortgage? Well, here's the documentation. So, and this is a more advanced feature for a more advanced implementation. Okay, so just spend a couple of more seconds on the sales and marketing side and how Microsoft CRM works. So these menus are modifiable. We can change the headings. We can change how this is organized. These tiles here we can also change. So sales team, this would be more of a frontline person. You can instead call this tellers, or you could call it inbound contact or call center, depending on how you want to implement that. Your marketing team typically works in the marketing area. And the marketing team, their interest generally is more in the outbound the segmentation and the communications part of it. So here we have the analytics portion and the integrations to the website. So we can capture who has reached our website, and therefore we can automate responses back to them. We can see which pages they've landed on. Did they land on the mortgage page or the RSP page or the student loan page? And then that information can be flown into the segmentation section of the profile for future outbound marketing. We can do surveys. We can do campaign automation. So campaign automation is if we decide to go after new RSP business, we can start with an outbound campaign with a web link. People who go to the web link then get a follow-up action, and the action might be another email or it might be a telephone call based on the value of the client, etc. So that's what the campaign automation is. It's multiple stages in a campaign. Product information, your sales literature, reporting, integrated calendar for appointments, a lot of functionality. Emails, email templates, so these are HTML templates. Everyone right now has an email system of some kind. What makes this system different is it's directly integrated to the CRM. So instead of me having to generate a list, export that to Excel, somehow upload that to my email system, and then periodically have my hits come back and download them and have them come in, that's a process fraught with error and time consuming that often doesn't work that well. So having it all integrated just has it automatically work seamlessly. All right. So let me go back to the presentation, and then I'll be passing it on to Jesse in a second, who will talk a little bit more about the ClickDimensions integrations. So, overviews and opportunities. So I mentioned here the action list. Whoops, sorry. I mentioned the action list and I mentioned the opportunity or segmentation part of the system. Here I talked about the contact history, the profile of the products that the customer has, and their financial information if you want to capture that. And the last part was the additional information, employment information and documentation database if you want to go to that level. So, that's good. Yep. So here's again the recommended opportunities and client, and here is really a major part of the value of this system is to do that micro-targeting and to have the value proposition of every person who contacts your credit union. All right. So now I will pass off for the ClickDimensions part of the presentation.
Annie. Annie, you there?
I am.
Awesome.
All right.
Are you going to be presenting anything, or do you just want to talk to this slide?
I am. I actually am. I will present in just a moment.
Okay, good. So as we switch over to Annie, again, I know I sound like a broken record, but if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the little window there. Happy to answer those as we go along.
Can you see a blue and green screen there?
Absolutely, I can see.
All right. Just wanted to make sure we had the right one up. Well, thanks everyone, and thanks Rob and Dirk for the introduction. I'm Annie with ClickDimensions, and I just want to take some time to go over some of the features of ClickDimensions, and Dirk has talked a little bit about some of these, of course, the web tracking, lead scoring, all of that information there. We have the ability to send text messages with ClickDimensions. So there's a lot of capabilities, and like Dirk said, everything is within Dynamic CRM. It is all navigated right within CRM and within the system that Dirk was showing you earlier. Everything with your email templates, your web analytics, campaign automation. You can even create forms and surveys with ClickDimensions. And so you'll be navigating it all within the interface here, just like you do for any of the sales views or customer views. Everything you're doing with your marketing can show up right on the customer record as well. You'll be able to see which emails have been sent to them. You'll be able to see which pages they visited. You'll be able to see if they filled out forms or surveys. And so everything you're doing with ClickDimensions comes right back into the CRM system so that you can view it very easily and also create dashboards and reports as needed with it. And so we're going to do a customer onboarding scenario. So someone that maybe already is a customer with the credit union, and we kind of want to cross-sell some other services to them. So for Aubergine, we just wanted to make sure that they had a well-implemented onboarding process for new account holders. So with campaign automation is really the center of this. We're using it to send out more information to them as they go through the automation. But before we can do that, we need to create emails. And ClickDimensions will allow you to easily create emails either in HTML. If you have HTML templates you're using, they're very easy to add to the ClickDimensions solution. We also allow you to create landing pages and forms. Those are created with a drag and drop form designer that you'll see on the right here. You can easily add information to that by just dragging and dropping it in. They also map back to your CRM. When you're creating a form with ClickDimensions, they can map back to the CRM and create a new user for you if they're not already in your system. And if they are, of course, it's just going to show right on their customer record that they completed a form and all the information they provided. We can also easily add these to landing pages, which I'll show you in the live environment in just a moment. With campaign automation, we can use wait timers and user notifications to ensure that emails are sent at the right time and customer interactions are responded to by the right people and in the right amount of time again, making sure that we're following up with them with either a task we associate to someone. We can even now, with our newest release, send a text message as part of an action with the campaign automation. So let's take a look at this in the live environment. And I'll show you first how the emails are created. Now, if you have HTML-based emails, you can certainly just add those in and use them with the HTML, but we also have a drag and drop designer that allows you to very easily create emails. There's a number of different layouts that you can choose from, but you can easily add content to those layouts by just dragging and dropping it in. It's very easy to use. And what we've also included on this email that you'll see as part of the campaign automation is a link to a landing page with a ClickDimensions form, so they can easily apply for credit or whatever they might be looking for. And you'll see here too, we allow for personalization. It's easy to make your messages very personalized, which is important for credit unions. You can bring in any field that you're tracking on their customer record, whether it's just their name or maybe most recent product that they've purchased. You can pull that through into the email that you're sending. So very easy to create those emails. Also easy to create those forms. So within the first email that we're sending them in our campaign automation, we're creating a form. We're just basic information with their first name, last name, phone, email, and what are they interested in. And so it's very easy to do that, and it's mobile responsive, allowing them to tell you what they're interested in so the appropriate person can follow up with them. That form can be easily added to ClickDimensions landing pages as well. So instead of just sending them to a, kind of a boring form page, you can bring them into something like this where they're completing this and you're putting them down the campaign based on how they answer the question. So bringing all of those together will automate this onboarding process by making sure that anyone who has a new checking account is added to a marketing list. If they're added to that marketing list with ClickDimensions Campaign Automation, we'll bring them into the first series where we'll wait 5 days. We don't want everything happening at once. We don't want to bombard them with emails. And then we'll send them that email that I showed you that we've already created. You'll just search for the email that's already in your system and add it here. It's very easy to use campaign automation. From there, maybe in that first email, there was a request for them to ask if they wanted a debit card. If they do, click that link where they want it. Then we'll bring them up here where we're going to set a task for someone in your organization to reach out to them to get their debit card set up. We're going to ask them if they want to download our app, set up account alerts, and use online bill pay. Just some more services that we offer. So, again, setting those wait timers between each one and allowing each of those things to happen throughout. Maybe they filled out a form, the form that we saw in the email. With ClickDimensions, based on how they answer the form, we can also send them down different paths. So if they answered a specific question, if they were looking at a car loan versus a home loan, you could send them to the appropriate department right through our campaign automation by just having that question go to that answer. We're not just sending emails in campaign automation either, and you don't necessarily have to use this just for onboarding. It's great for nurturing people who maybe don't have accounts yet as well, but are on your mailing list. There's a number of things that you can do, but you can notify internal teams of things happening. You can run workflows. We now have the ability to send text messages. So if they've opted in for text messaging, you can do that as well. You create tasks, add or remove from marketing lists at any time. There's a number of options within campaign automation allowing you to easily automate a number of processes within your credit union. If you guys have any questions, feel free to use that question pane again. I'm happy to answer those. There's a variety of tools that can be used outside of the campaign automation and the things that we saw. We didn't go over web tracking today. Of course, we can track anytime someone's coming to your website and what pages they're looking at and automate emails based on that. We do have the ability for you to set up a subscription preferences page, allowing you to be CASEL compliant so that they can opt into what they'd like to receive or opt out from email communications. We can also create surveys, and we have event management features that connect to Eventbrite, WebEx, GoToWebinar, and Cvent. So it's a full marketing automation solution that can be used right along the solution that CRM Dynamics has provided for credit unions. Right. And with that, I'll open it up to questions if anyone has any.
I don't see any questions in the tool yet here, so I think what we'll do is pass back to Dirk.
Okay.
And then if anyone has any questions, please do so.
Perfect. And then what I'll do is I'll spend another 5 minutes in the presentation to leave room for questions at the end. All right?
All right.
So come back here. So last few slides I'll go through pretty quick. So dashboard. So here's an example of a success-oriented dashboard. Shows our sales pipeline. This could be for a team, could be for the call center as a whole, or it could be for an individual. So through CRM, security, basically how you set up different security for different individuals makes this information automatically reflect that. So if I log in as a user and I only have permission to see my own data, these graphs would show my data, whereas if I was a VP and I have all the information available to me, I will see the aggregate in here and then I can drill down. So very powerful reporting tools and very powerful for analytics. Impact of insights and relationships. Why is it so important to get a single view customer? Right now, if you just have data, you might be getting response rates and closure rates of 6 to 8%. If you have insights, insights means you do some analysis of your clients, of your members and prospects, and then you target them with the right message. Now you start getting success of 24 to 32%. And if you build relationships, then your percentages go way up. And relationships is your members, they are prospects you're adding value to, and they see you as a thought leader. So that's where the single view in the CRM system can help. Information mining. There are tools where you can look up a name or a business and it will reach out to social media and aggregate information about that person. So this helps you for your segmentation. If a person has called, or if a person has filled out a survey, or if they've walked into a branch, you can build a profile and offer them products that make sense to them. Warm introduction to key contacts. So with this, if you have one member of the family, you might ask, can I offer this educational material to other members of your family? Or if you are working with someone at a business, you might say, can we share this information with other people at your business? So this is using that social interactions and the social network to start building your customers and your prospecting. Stalled opportunities. So the concept of having the system take any interaction and automatically following up or reminding of follow-up is huge. Rob, maybe you can speak to the survey we've done where people, we've actually asked them, we've reached out to their websites and we asked them to quote.
So we've done a web lead test where we submit leads to companies' websites, and it's across all industries, including credit unions. And what we find is when a lead is submitted in the website, 50% of the time the lead's not responded to at all. And then of the ones that are responded to, almost 80% of them are not responded to a second time, so people let it drop. So what we find in credit unions is this is happening there as well. So what's happening is someone will go to your website, they'll submit a lead, a question or a lead, and in most cases you don't have the process or the tool set up properly to triage and respond to that adequately. And we have a bit of a diagnostic we can do if you're interested in learning how your company performs at the end, if you're interested.
Exactly. So the concept of not having stalled opportunities is critical. And we can take all those interactions and have automatic follow-ups if no person follows up. So at least something happens, right?
So we have a question if you want to answer it now.
Oh, yes.
Or at the end.
I will jump to the question. What was the question?
You want to read it?
Yes, please.
All right, here's a question. So I think everyone's going to want the answer to this. That's why I think it's a good thing to answer now. Okay, the question is, it looks like you can bring in data from a number of different systems. Will this push information back to these systems? For example, an update to a member's address or some type of information.
Yeah, absolutely. We can also push information into the different systems. That typically makes the costs go up, right? Because now we have to respect the API, that's the application programming interface, of that other system, and we have to understand it, and we have to program to the rules. So in general, it's 1/4 the effort to pull information than it is to write back information. But absolutely, if you update an address in CRM, we could push that to your banking system, or we could push that to your mortgage system, or we could push it to both. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So mapping. We have integration to mapping in the application. So there are some clients who find that very valuable, others not so much. But if you can cluster or look at prospects and see where they are, that might help you with some of your information. So just showing the mapping there. Design email communication. We talked a little bit about ClickDimensions and how you can have the subscription preference and the castle compliance built into the application. Automatic updating. So again, the question with the information on both ends. Anything that's done on the website or on a web form or when you send out a campaign is automatically integrated, and we can also integrate back into your other systems if you have APIs for that. Subscribe, unsubscribe. If you accidentally send a campaign out to people that in CRM you marked as do not communicate, it will be intercepted. So there's a nice safety thing stay out of the newspapers for castle compliance breaches. Yeah, important thing. Social listening. Sorry, just a little bit social listening. That's where we talked about to get information from LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter accounts to see who's speaking about you, and also to pull information from that. So here's our introductory packages. We have a $20,000 version, a $50,000, $59,000, and a $99,000, and each one just has progressive integrations on the core system. So everything you saw here at a high level, you can have for a great introductory price, but you don't have the automated data feeds. Then the next level up, you have some data feeds, and then the next level up, we have all data feeds, and for one or two, we might even have two-way data. So just wanted to show in this slide that the systems are much more affordable than it used to be. I was involved in CIBC on a CRM system back in 2004, and that one cost $84 million. So these
take two of those.
Yeah, I'll take two. So these prices, and in some respects, what we're offering here with the social listening ties, in my opinion, this package does more than what we did back in 2004.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and that was a publicly written white paper. That's why I can mention that. So, and of course, we would customize for your credit union and talk about training and analytic needs. The other thing is the segmentation that I showed here and the targeted marketing. We can train your team on how to do it. Your team might already know how to do it, or we're happy to offer you part-time marketing assistance to do that on your behalf. So that's up to you as an a la carte menu. And that is the end of our presentation, and I think my picture would have done better, but we've done Rob instead.
So if you have any questions, please put them in there. If you have any direct questions, you can email me if you like. The email address is there, and I'll field them into Dirk.